Hey YouTube, this is We All Juggle Knives, and I have a brand new folding knife to show to you today. Alright, the Shizuka Noh Ken. And of course, apologies if I didn't get that exactly perfect. Now I want to give a special thank you to CRKT and to Ben, that's CRKT's representative here, for providing this knife for review. So a big thank you to them. Yes, and look at that. Very cool. Now the blade length on this is 3.65 inches. And I did measure it myself. It is exactly that. The steel is AUS 8. That is a flat grind. Alright, it's, the bevel there. Partial flat grind. A very subdued sub-tip there. And here is the display side of the knife. This is G10, and it has a brickwork texture pattern there, and then diagonal grooves there. Lanyard hole there. Now this side, the lock bar side is made of an extremely corrosion resistant stainless steel. Okay, so that's solid steel. You see the pocket clip. It is a lowrider style pocket clip. Okay, and it does seem to be reversible. Now you see there is jimping here, right, for grip. There's a backspacer here. It's partially open construction. There's a stop pin. All right, in the opening facility, it's a thumb disc. It's a thumb plate. All right, it's a thumb plate, but it's rounded on the sides. It's not quite a perfect disc. Right, and there is texture on the sides of that thumb plate. Now you can open this pretty well with either hand, even though it is a frame lock. It's well designed. I am left-handed, and I have no trouble opening it with my left hand. Now the lockup is stable and secure. There's no blade play. Locks up firmly. Right. That is blood, by the way. I don't know if you can see that. That is not dirt. That is blood from working with multi-tools. Alright, but secondary lock here, push this back. It's a manual secondary lock. When you, did I say push back? Push forward, duh. But when you push this forward, it inserts a piece of metal that prevents the lock bar from being disengaged. Alright, so manual secondary lock for a little extra safety. There is some jimping on the lock bar. There's, I don't know if you can see in there, lockup. And let's see if I can open it with my offhand. Yeah, I am left-handed, but no problem opening it with my right hand or my left hand. So good deployment on this. Now as far as the blade shape and tip design, I am going to be pronouncing it tanto for purposes of this review. Alright, I know some people say tanto, some say tanto. I've been watching James Williams' videos, and he prefers the tanto pronunciation. And he is the designer of this knife, so I will go with the pronunciation that he prefers. Okay, so tanto. Now, occasionally when I'm reviewing one of these knives from this line, someone will say, hey, that's not a tanto. Yes, it is. It's the older, it's based on the older original style of tanto, Japanese tanto. It is different than the Americanized tanto, especially the cold steel variety. But this too, trust me, it is a tanto blade shape. Now the benefit of this blade shape, I think you can see, it's basically extremely pointed. It gives you the thrusting and piercing ability usually associated with a very slim dagger. Right? So it gives you that. There's a misconception that any thrusting technique is a killing technique. And people go further, and sometimes people that are interested in self-defense will say you don't want a piercing design because thrusting is only for killing. That is not true at all, actually. very quick, extremely quick pecks with a tip into the hand of someone can make them unable to hold a weapon. Okay, so thrusts, very quick disabling thrusts to the hand are actually a very good defensive technique. Okay, so it's all in how you use it. Just because it's a thrusting tip, that doesn't mean the only use is for you know, for Michael Myers to go crazy. Not at all. And a size comparison for you, the larger knife is the Otanashi Noh Ken, and as you can see, this newer knife is basically just a smaller version, alright, for when you need something that is more compact. Because the Otanashi, it's about 4.5 inches in blade length. Alright, so for various reasons you might need something more compact. Alright, but you can check out my review of that. So yeah, you see that there. Both beautiful knives. Here is another size comparison for you with the Hisatsu folder. Yes, and the big difference here, this is a frame lock, and the Hisatsu folder is a liner lock, and therefore, right, there's a little bit difference in thickness there. Also, this is assisted opening, and this is manual opening. Right, you see the blades there. Now as for the ergonomics, they are very good. The opening, of course, but the handle shape, you see it flares out gradually towards the pommel. Right, and this handle, it might look simple, but it's actually, well, I don't know if it was designed for all grips, but it can accommodate all grips. Basically, if you want to do the hammer grip, it's good for that. If you want to do edge in hammer grip, it's good for that. Sometimes people say, why would you hold it like that, man? Well, when you're talking about a grab and stab, an upward stab into the torso at a 45-degree angle, the natural reflex of a person is to try and block down with their hands to block that thrust. So when the edge is oriented this way, they go to block with their hands, and this can very powerfully cut backwards, and it will basically slice the insides of the wrists. So yes, there is a purpose for sometimes holding it that way. Of course, when you hold it this way, you have the slicing and slashing you can do. So yeah, both of those have a use. You can also use the Filipino grip, which is thumb on the spine. There's another misconception that you're going to have a knife fight with your thumb sitting there. The thumb is there when the fight is almost over, because this is for close cutting, meaning what a butcher does. You're talking about butchering meat. Like when this thumb is here, it's over. I mean, this is, I don't want to be too graphic, but no, you're not going to circle around, hey, hit my thumb, man. No, no, no. Your thumb is not going to be there until it needs to be for, you know, the final cuts. This can also be used in the Sabre Grip, which is kind of like, almost like the Filipino, but down here for more length. And, you know, that's used for what Bruce Lee called singular direct attack, which is something he picked up from fencing. It's basically a long-range thrusting grip. All right, and it can do that too. It can do reverse grip as well. Slash thrust, of course. And it can do edge in reverse grip. And this grip is used, well, you immobilize the wrist, and then you hook in and cut. You can also go behind the neck and draw across. So this has a use as well. And what I'm trying to convey to you is that this type of handle, though it might seem simple, can actually do any grip from any worthwhile system that you could think of. That's one of the reasons why I actually really like this handle. You know, nowadays you get such extremely contoured, intricate handles sometimes, they lock you into only one single grip. I don't like that for a knife of this type, which is unrepentantly a tactical folder. Now, as I said, this is designed as a tactical folder, and you know, some people will basically dispute that you can use a folder as basically a hand-to-hand weapon. But the designer is well aware of the use of a fixed blade. There's 4 different fixed blades to choose from, so obviously the folder is for those situations where, for whatever reason, you cannot use one of the fixed blades. I think that's pretty clear. Final thoughts on this blade. It's very well made. The smoothness of the opening, how solid the lockup is, the fit and finish. It's definitely first rate as far as the construction. It's also very slim. It's 4.2 ounces, so very slim and very light. All right, so it's got a lot going for it. The only hit I could really give might be, you know, it depends how much you're willing to spend. I checked the price today at Blade HQ, and the price was $100. I'm not sure if that's going to remain the price, or, you know, sometimes the price changes. I mean, this is just come out recently, so I don't know what the final price will be. Now, if you're judging this, as many knife people do, many knife collectors, knife users, will judge a knife primarily by the materials, right? They'll judge it by whether the steel is a super steel. And then they'll, you know, they formulate what they think the price should be based on the steel. Well, if you're going to judge it that way, then yeah, you probably will not like just the Aus-8 stainless steel for that price. I personally don't judge it in that way because, you know, this is meant to be used against flesh. There's no there's no soft, gentle way to say that. And so the edge retention and things like that, you know, you're not going to be whittling pieces of wood all day with it, and you're not going to be cutting up cardboard boxes all day with it. You know, it's not a utility knife. So yeah. But as for the price, you know, it depends if you really need something like this or not. I'm sure if you do, you'd be glad to pay it, you know, knowing how much people spend on their firearms, and most people will use this to back up a firearm. And let's go out with a group photo. Well, I have the whole line, plus all the fixed blades, and I even have the Williams Raptor. So, that pretty much tells you what I think of the designs. I like them, you know, they're in my special category of blades that if push came to shove, if I was forced to, they're in that elite group that I would actually choose. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this knife. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.